Okay. I'm gonna pause it once it gets in, and then I can. Sam, he DM'd me in Portuguese and said that his English ain't the best. Okay. You can understand though. That is completely fine. Is me typing on a notepad gonna be too? Like, so can you understand writing in English as well as speaking, or no? No problems. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. So I'm completely fine with that. I can understand. All right, sounds good. Putting sentences together. Yeah, that's chill. Dude, I was born in America. I have trouble putting sentences together. Okay. No judgment from me, baby. I'm fucking borderline stupid when it comes to putting sentences together. So, you're a really high elo player in Brazil. Obviously, people make shit all the time about the differences in regions and saying things like D4, NAs, whatever, Gold 2, EUS. I don't care about that comparison shit. Grandmaster is pretty high. You're a high elo player in your respective region. So, I'm going to treat this like I'm talking to a high elo player. It's going to be probably much more in depth than my other ones, like about missing CS or wave, bad trading in CS and things like this. I'm sure it's going to be more about rotations and proper recall timings and more nitty-gritty stuff. So afterward we can talk about like even better advice you can get from people that play that role or people that play in bot lane. Mainly XFSN Saber, because I think he makes great AD tip videos. He's a challenger AD player, mainly Caitlyn in North America. And Core JJ, who's starting a How to Support series. Although it's not directly pertaining to AD, it talks about positioning with your support in AD and how to respect, enemy support positioning and when you can get engaged on, etc., knowing like what it means when somebody steps up in lane. So these two things that I have on this notepad are pretty valuable. I just wanted to write them down immediately so I didn't forget. Is there anything in particular that you want me to go over, or do you just want me to analyze the game as a whole? Like, is there a specific aspect of your game that you think you struggle with that I can focus on more than others? This is the only question I will ask, and then I will just kind of go. I'm not so sure. That's fine. We'll just get into it then. Maybe mid-game? Alright. Mid-game has to do with positioning with your team, rotations, wave management, proper warding in enemy jungle, where to position yourself in team fights. I'm sure we can go over these certain things. I like the guarding. You have Senna here, your jungler starting topside, making sure there's no invade, especially with a Thresh. Solid guarding. Okay, you start to move up. This is good. Don't over-aggress for the move up. It's fine. Alright, so you guys don't even show fake Lee Sin. I'm pretty sure Lee Sin showed mid, so they know he's probably starting topside. I like your positioning up in lane, because you're expecting where they're going to come from. You're going to be looking for something cheeky. Nice Q. Nice clear on the wave as well. Your movement's pretty good so far, from what I can see. Thanks, Duelist. Positioning so far in lane is really good, especially when you're pushing for level 2, making sure that you're up in the opponent's face, not giving away anything for free. Especially with a champion like Senna and Xayah, who have pretty good burst damage together. This is really good first 2 levels. We know they have a Hecarim jungle who has Ignite. We can assume he started bot side because of where bot lane came in, how late they came in. So if you guys get gone on here, bad shit happens. We'll see. We'll see what happens. This is not really your fault, but as someone who jungles, you know, I jungle quite a bit as well. It's risky. This is a risky move by Senna because I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna lose vision of them. Maybe not. No. So you guys see where Thresh is. Senna should just immediately flash this. Nothing you can do about this. Her death. The good news is that with Mordekaiser usually trying to last hit, it's going to shove into you, so you can play back. Nice. You check to see if he's in your bot side. He's not. Okay. Playing back and staying here is completely fine. Good call. Nice. Dodging the hook. Nice combo onto the Mord. It's the first drag, Ocean. I don't know if maybe you're looking for a reset here after this push, because you can just maybe get double longsword. Missing cannon, bad. I'm not going to go into it. Grandmaster player, you know about this. See Hecarim top, so you're willing to stay for this. This is a good call again. Definitely are clearly playing around where the enemy jungler is on the map and making sure that you're playing accordingly. So, what I can see, definitely some smart play. Only really have to worry about recalling maybe the next 45 to 60 seconds. So this is like the first little mini mistake that I've seen. So after Thresh goes in here, right, you don't even get that many feathers out before immediately Eing. Where I think you could definitely like be DPSing a little bit more. And trying to get more feathers out. I'm just seeing if they fight. It's the first little maybe tiny mishap that I've seen. Because then they commit to a fight here and you don't have your E up for a little bit. Alright, where if you had more feathers here already, you could have already E'd. Maybe bursted him a little bit more. Should know Hecarim will be bot centric just because his bot camps are up. Can't obviously know whether or not he'll already be ganking. Comes in, you guys are going to get a trade onto the Thresh. I don't know if you're going to get another kill here. You don't waste your flash, you know you're dead anyway. It's a good call to not flash. Nice. And not recalling earlier because you're playing around with enemy jugglers. You get BF sword here. This is good. Looking like you should be set up for a smooth transition into later parts of the laning phase. Only notable problem is that your top laner is really far behind against the Lucian. Down 20 CS. Down a kill. I definitely would be looking to keep the lane on my side of the map, especially with them having no flashes. You see Thresh mid, so you can probably shove here and then maybe look for a play on Mordekaiser. But I definitely want to be seeing my TF make plays with me, bot lane. Bad focus by TF, so Thresh doesn't die. TF dies as well. I like the aggressiveness here. Your team's pretty far behind. Definitely should be looking to make something happen here. Even in a fight with all of you, a 2-for-1 is pretty nice, even if like one of you die. Sunny gets hooked. Decision to focus Thresh is very smart. Mord has too much built-in sustain. It's going to be hard to kill him straight up. It's really good focus. Now we should shove this. Definitely be looking for make a play on the tower. This guy is going ham for this Mordekaiser. I mean, you know, you can't do anything about that. I would have personally pinged him back because it's a pretty big like, you guys are just so far removed from him. Yeah, I wouldn't have been staying here. We know from just whatever 30 seconds ago that Hecarim was just down here and killed Lee Sin. Okay. We also know that Hecarim had just recently come from his top side of the map. So we can assume that his bot side camps are up. So as soon as Senna gets hooked here, I like the idea to maybe look for Mordekaiser, but I don't know why you're so melee formed. Alright, get your feathers out. Okay, and if she comes out of the death realm and he's low, you should just be back here. A little bit of not thinking about enemy jungle pathing. Right. I know it's a concept that can be hard to grasp, and I've jungled quite a bit. I don't know how often you jungle or if you ever were a jungler. I'm not too good predicting junglers' ways. So it's easy to... I talked about this with a few of my other people that I've coached. Is early game, it's extremely easy to track a jungler because of the way they made minion or jungle camps give CS. Right? So every camp... Alright, so every camp equals 4 CS. Alright. Doesn't matter if it's dragon or red buff or raptors or wolves. If they clear the whole camp, it's 4 CS. Alright, so early game, that makes it easy to track. Because if you see, right, Hecarim gank mid, right, and he has red buff and 12 CS, right, plus red, we can assume that he did like red, Krugs, raptors, ganked mid. Right. If you see 12 CS or 16 CS with red and blue, right, we can assume like red, Krugs, raptors, blue, and then a gank. Right, and then if he does that ganks top side, you can assume that he'll come back down, start pathing back towards bot side. Or that I think it's hard to know exactly what camps he made. It depends on, right. So early game, it's only easy based on like what buffs he has and where he comes into a lane from. You really have to be paying attention to your map to notice things like that. Later in the game, though, like when he comes for this gank bot, this is after he had just come from mid and top side, right? And he took, right, he ganks mid and then takes Lee Sin's camps. After something happens topside, you can assume that the jungler wants to recall to the lane that's not, and then come back and path towards the side that isn't already pushed to the tower, right? Lucian's already taking this tower. Ryze had just died, right? So he probably wants to path back towards bot and then maybe look for another gank topside or look for something bot. So he's going to come to his bot side first, especially since his red is spawning around this time too, and his blue isn't up yet. And we only know that he started bot side from, right, early game, the way bot lane walks in. So yeah, do you guys have this tri-warded? No. Yeah, so I'd be definitely would have just been playing way further back, assuming that he'd be bot side. Again, though, it's not many mishaps. But it's definitely something to be aware of. Right, so we just put in the notepad. Like I said, your mechanics, right, the CSing, things like that, right, are much more refined at such a high level. But even things like wave management or enemy jungler tracking, all these things are like constant processes to improve on. Gonna put this here. That's all I wrote down. Right, better enemy jungler tracking after a play happens. Where is he? Was he a part of a gank? Is he off the map? Did we spot him somewhere? Have his CS numbers gone up? Right. There's little things we can gain from hitting tab, or after a gank happens, just looking at the little portrait and seeing if he was even part of the gank, or looking at your mini map after something happens, and then seeing, because if you have a ward in like your try or something, and you see him like path into your jungler's top side or something, right? You can make assumptions based on like where he's going. Let me see if this is one. Still a nice try, so just gonna keep it going. I like the setup of a slow push here. And a semi-freeze, just because your jungler's not on your side of the map. You've seen the way Hecarim's been playing. You guys have been getting ganked pretty aggressively. So I definitely think it's a smart play. Keep the lane on your side, kind of dictate what's going to happen. That kick was bad. Pretty aggressive dive. You guys go 1 for nothing, so it's pretty good. I definitely would shove this in. We see that your Rise is dead again, and just try to get the tower. This is a good tower take. You guys not gonna get it probably. Huh? Close but no cigar. Damn, that's really unlucky. Trying to see if there's any bad tower focus. A little bit. Hitting the minions a little bit too much, but it's just unlucky because of how low it was. The crazier thing is how you guys don't get it for a while. Seems like a bad ability to really transition to the mid game and having your Rise in a side lane or something. Damn. Unlucky recall. I don't know if maybe if you're not looking at your character. I'm assuming not. Especially on such low HP. It's different when you're higher HP, but I'd say Yeah, I know. The only difference is that when you're low HP, you're gonna have to regen in base anyway. So looking at your shop is kind of a negligible thing to do. I talked about this with somebody I coached where he was recalling and spending, you know, 20 seconds, 25 seconds in base looking for items to buy. But he's played 1,500 Yorick games, right? He should know at this point what items to buy. As an AD main, as somebody that plays Xayah, you should have an idea of what items you should be looking to buy and when you should buy them. But when you're higher HP, right, you can have time to be attacked. You can have time to be attacked under tower and react. But when you're this low HP, I think it's definitely... I would wait until the last like 1 to 2 seconds before opening my shop. It just sucks that you guys were both so low and both right next to each other. I mean, you have all your stuff. Yeah, you can walk up for this wave. You're fine. Good ward. High IQ ward. Yeah, I really don't love this fight at all. I mean, Mordekaiser just has so much armor. It seems like a lack of attention to power spikes. Like, this is fully stacked Seekers and Ninja Tabby. He's level 8. Yeah, so he's just gonna isolate Senna and beat her ass. Coming out of this, though, you still seem to think you can fight him. You're gonna have to blow your heal. I definitely don't think you guys should be looking for a fight right now. Looking to clear and just make plays with like TF with his ult up. I also don't love a fight before a dragon. Now you're just chunked and can't help with drag. If anything, you should have recalled way sooner. She gets hooked. Your team's topside anyway. You have to recall now. I definitely think with the position your team's in right now, this tower dropping wouldn't be the worst thing. Yeah, it's very aggressive. Still walking up. At this point, it's not about knowing whether or not the jungler's bot side or not. It's about knowing that you can just get gone on at any point, especially even by just threshing Mord. I think honestly an okay mid game play to make is to know that like as a bot lane you have 9 deaths, like your top laner's 05. They're gonna open up this map anyway. But the only way you can really safely farm is even closer to your inner towers now. Right, because it's gonna bring your team closer together as well instead of being so spread thin and be really far apart. Can make rotates easier, especially with Rise ult. I think letting this tower drop and just not trying to protect it is a better call here. And then even after it drops, this aggro doesn't make sense. You don't have your ult, you don't have heal. I'm pretty sure you guys lose this 2v2. Just straight up, even without hack here. Just goes more to so much AoE damage. Drop towers for safer map control. Yeah, towers is like a double-edged sword, right? When you're the team, that's Alright, so when you're the team that's ahead, boys, you know what time it is. This is the enemy side, their blue side, right? And this is your team, your red side. Thanks. Right, so taking towers, right, especially outer towers, is a double-edged sword in terms of like, so when the enemy team takes your outer towers, it allows them to open up the map. They gain control of not only this half, but then they can just kind of start swooping in, getting better wards, having better rotates, right? And they can open up the map kind of like this. And for you guys, right, they're ahead though. For you guys that are behind, even if their outer towers are gone, when waves crash, you guys aren't going to be just like shoving back. Right? You don't have the ability to do that because you're at too much of a gold disadvantage. You need to have them lose gold. You need waves to kind of freeze and slowly thin out, and then you push them back out slowly, not just kind of brainlessly clearing. So when your outer towers are dropped and you guys are kind of pushed back into this sort of general area, right, you guys can still get out to ward here and here. But in terms of where waves are going to be crashing, right, the minions are going to be coming all the way into your inner towers. It's a safer place to farm, just because now your teammates, right, instead of farming at the outer towers at such a spread apart, distance, you're going to be closer together. You can make better plays. You can catch waves more efficiently. You can soak up gold and experience more efficiently. So it works kind of both ways, where it's okay to let a tower drop sometimes, especially when you don't have your ult or heal. And it looks like and Thresh, after taking the tower, after taking bot tower, he postures in a way where he's here and then he walks up here like he's looking for a play. This immediately makes me think, why would he walk up towards our jungle right after taking this tower? If anything, if he was just walking straight, it's a little bit different, but he's walking towards somewhere where, there's a little bit of unknown area over here. Yeah, so I would say it's uh-oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. There we go. Okay to let towers drop sometimes, especially, I'm going to actually put, if you're the team that has to play from behind. Obviously, I'm not saying when they're at every tower, you just kind of fucking let it go, right? Because there comes to a point where you have to start defending your base. But the outer towers are kind of like the first line of defense, right? And this gives you the ability to just stack bigger waves and have them crash into your tower and farm, safer. There's also more defense, right? You have a much bigger wall here at your tower than opposed to here, and there's open space here. Right, so you can physically be under the tower and kind of see when people are approaching you more directly. Yep, I definitely think getting out of bot lane here is okay. Catch the wave mid. Start just trying to get some EXP and gold into yourself. I like the ward behind you against the Hecarim. Again, another smart play. Take Raptors here. Yep. This group is a good idea because your team is already so far behind. You guys should be looking to make some sort of play with each other. Even if it seems kind of forced, right? Like that kill on Graves gives you some sort of, 4v5 potential advantage, etc. Alright, so right now, so far, it's a 2 for 2. But yeah, this is the right call, right? To be grouping. You guys are already too far behind to think that you're going to be able to catch up fast enough side laning. Grouping here, although it's not ideal, is definitely probably your only bet as a team. Are we still in the this section? Let me go back to my coaching screen. Sorry, guys. I know it's a little fucking scuffed. My bad, my bad, my bad. I apologize. Again, your side laning and when to do it seems pretty... That Rise was so bad. He was. Your support was pretty bad too. Actually, let me add that too. So I don't know how you felt about this, but when new supports come out or new champions in general, it's okay to be a little bit more cautious. Passive, scared, patient, cautious. Another word. I'd put cautious instead of scared. When playing with, especially a support champion as an AD, that you are a little bit unconfident in your 2v2 potential with. Especially into a bot lane like Thresh Mord that is very dangerous in their 2v2 potential. Mordekaiser is very scrappy with Conqueror. Thresh has Aftershock, whereas you and Senna don't really... You don't even know, right, the potential of that type of 2v2, whereas you know what Mord does, you know what Thresh does. Right? So I'd feel out the matchup a little bit and kind of, you know, play a little bit more with your foot on the brake a little bit. Foot ready to be on the brake and just kind of, you know, ease into it. Because you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're taking 2v3 fights, right, and past the halfway point of the lane and you're not even sure if you can win a 2v2. Right? I definitely think that's something that contributes to, right, you falling behind in terms of with Senna. Oh my god, what is going on? My audio is just all fucked. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but it sounded pretty bad to me. But like, your side laning really good, like coming up here for this tower, pretty solid. Because this opens up the map for your team. You guys are going to lose a little bit. I wouldn't worry about clearing this wave. Recall, get with your team. It seems a little bit like tilt pushing. Maybe your thing is your only bet to maybe get a top side inhib or something, but I don't think there's anything you're really going to gain. Because if anything, they're going to be closing out the game soon. I don't know if you were tilted. I mean, your team is pretty... ran it down kind of hard with the Rise being 0-9 instead of being 1-9. But, like, I played a game earlier. I don't know if you were here. Duelist, were you here where my Zed on my team left and it was 4v5 and I was asking my team, right, just play with me, right? Just please give me one fight. If we lose the fight, then we can FF, right? But just give me a fight. Give me one fight. I'm like pleading with them, right? But even though it's 4v5, the enemy already is like 10-0. Yeah, I did. I played Ribbon, right? And the game seems hopelessly lost, right? If you can find it deep in your soul to power through it even a little bit, because when you do things that are proactively trying to win, that's what allows you to reflect on the game in a positive light. Like with that game, if I had just decided, man, fuck this team, I'm just going to go top, what do I gain? Right? Because even in a 4v5, we were winning some fights, right? I could test my limits a little bit on Riven, right? In this scenario where the game seems hopelessly lost, just team fight, right? With Senna, see what you guys can do as a team rather than, you know, taking these useless towers top. Right? Because maybe you guys could pull even... not a fight that's going to bring you back into the game, but a fight where you can see a little bit of Xayah and Senna's potential and carry that knowledge with you into further lanes where you play with Senna. Right? A lot of people think about League of Legends too much in the micro, in terms of micro gains. Oh, I'm up 17 LP today. Right? But did you learn anything? Did you take anything away from the games you played? Did you reflect on your lane? Right? Because if you were here with your team instead, and maybe a different fight plays out where you see something that Senna and Xayah can do together, and you're like, oh shit, that's interesting. I didn't know that we could do that. Right? But instead, if you're just kind of autopilot pushing in top lane, what are you learning? Okay. Something to think about. That's not even like a mechanical, you know, only Grandmaster players can do this. Every single player in any elo can think about this concept of not autopiloting in games that look completely lost. Like, I agree, this game looks completely lost, but it doesn't mean that it's a waste of your time, or that doesn't mean that you should make it a waste of your time, right? Don't have... Oh my god, I can't see my keyboard. Don't have the mindset of a loss is a waste of my time. I'm not saying you do have this, but it's another thing to keep in mind is losing, because League is so immediately reflected in it, almost like it's almost like a defining of what type of player you are, right? When you go on a huge loss streak and you drop, like me, I dropped from D1 to D3 in a day and a half. Okay? I can swallow that and say, wow, my teams are so shit, I didn't deserve any of these losses, right? Or I can say, like, in my I played an Elise game and I played really well, and I think to myself, wow, I pathed really well in my early game, I didn't set this person up that well in mid, my team kind of threw it late, but I can still learn something from it, right? In situations where somebody leaves, or, right, somebody ints you, like I just mentioned, I had somebody leave a game, but I still felt like I could learn something from that game. Okay. If you think about it in terms, I don't know how familiar you are with baseball, but baseball is probably my favorite sport to watch. It's the sport that I played the most when I was younger. But a whole season is 162 games. So minor, it's fine. But if you think about it in terms of this, imagine if your league season was limited and you could not play an unlimited amount of games. Okay, so I will explain it in terms of league. Imagine instead that your league season was capped. You played 200 games, and where you end up is where you end up. Okay? So you have 200 games to prove what rank you can achieve in 200 games. Let's just say. Okay? But your rank is not defined arguably based on, like, your first 5 losses don't completely lower the standard of the type of people you play with, right? Like, if somebody loses, like, it's almost like thinking of it as a loser's bracket, right? People that lose play together, people that win play together, right? So by winning, you just play with better people, right? But league is, people define it so quickly as, like, as soon as I lose LP, which means I'm a worse player. It's like, that's not what it means. Or I lost a game, so I can't learn from it. It's like, that's not what these things mean. People just think of it that way because it's represented so negatively so quickly. Whereas if you just looked at every game as a learning experience, whether you win or lose, it's a more healthy mindset, and it helps you arguably play better in the long run, in my opinion. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at this either. I definitely have my fair share of getting mad that, you know, I think I deserve to win. But it's something that you have to, how much can you improve in 200 games? Yeah. That's like, I've thought about this comparison because regular sports, that, right? Like when you play sports at a younger age, you have a limited amount of games where you can prove how good you are. Where in League, it's not like that, right? You have unlimited, theoretically, amount of time to really improve your gameplay, but League is such a mental tasking game that you have to just be mentally able to power through losses and not have them drag your ability to learn down, because that's where people fail, in my opinion. Damn. I feel like I just gave a motivational speech. I hope that doesn't seem too overbearingly, like, philosophical or, right, too non-league related. It really is, I think, a core aspect of a problem that some people have, where they can't separate losing, or they can't make the connection between like losing and learning. Right? They think these are two completely separate things that cannot coexist. Or if I lose, there is nothing good that I can take away from this game. This game is a waste of my time. This game, I will just forget about it. Like that term, when a bad game happens, forget about it. I don't like that term. I don't like when people say this phrase, because it is based on the assumption that when bad things happen, there's nothing to gain from it. Yes, it's good to cherish the good things and try to not dwell on the bad things, but to think that these things do not share equal value in what you can gain, I think is completely ignorant. This is what happens when a Grandmaster player gets a coaching session, man. We go past the fucking bare bones of the game, and we think deeper. Try to take all you can from the moment. Yeah, it's very toxic to the ability to learn, or the environment, the learning environment of not only like the game but oneself, to just throw things away based on like them not going your way. Right? It's like when people that paint. Honestly, this coaching session is an enlightening experience. Damn, I mean, I'm just kind of spewing thoughts that I have, not only about League but about life. Right, because this is just how I feel like in my regular life too. Right? Like, how do you become so well versed in, let's say, like someone that plays the piano or something? Right? I'm sure there's plenty of times where, like here's a good example, honestly, from my personal life. When I was younger, I played the trumpet from 4th grade until like 10th grade. And I remember in my 7th grade, like spring or fall concert, I had a trumpet solo. And I fucking messed it up in front of like 500 people. And it was like soul crushing, because I had worked so hard on it, right? And I thought like, oh man, like I'm really deserving of this solo, right? And I messed it up. I missed a note, and it made like about 3 to 5 measures sound pretty shit. Brought it back in the end, right? To finish off the solo sounded pretty good. But I learned from that because I had been practicing more of the music rather than my fundamentals of the trumpet. And I feel like it really kind of weared on me after playing so much, where like once I got a little bit nervous and I couldn't rely on the fundamentals that I had trained myself to know, that I just kind of fucking immediately fucked up. Right, I lost it. But right, when you learn something so much, right, you can kind of refine your ability to power through those moments of failure. He just said to me, I'll need to watch this video 100 times to take it all in. Maybe just this section, this little introspection fucking section. But yeah. But like I said, like I can tell your movement seems good. Your Xayah seems pretty clean. Obviously, the 2v2 knowledge with Senna seems a little lackluster. Your mid-game rotations to top side to shove the wave out was good, but then to just kind of like brain AFK autopilot take the towers instead of trying to do something with your team shows a little lack in wanting to actually take something and learn something from a game that ultimately seems lost. And like I said, I'm not perfect, right? I'm not here to tell you that I'm a better person because I do it perfectly, right? You should look at the way I do it. I'm saying, right, be better than me. Right? Be better than the person on your left, the person on your right. So although you might not have people directly around you that play League, you can look to me, right? And I can say like, look, here's my thoughts on how you can improve. and I may not be perfect at them, and you may not be perfect at them, but we can look at each other and agree that like this is definitely something that we both could work at. Right? I'm not perfect and you're not perfect, but let's get better together. It's that kind of mindset, you know? I'm gonna cry, Sam. Dude, it's just, you know, I don't know. I feel like I've gone on some sort of tangent, but it really does relate back to League, I promise. Deep down, it does. Alright. Be okay with losing in life. And no matter what it is, right? You can lose in the micro. Right? The LP loss is not... It does not make me think... This loss doesn't make me think less of you as a player. Right? But wanting to learn makes me think more of you as a person. What can you teach to a Grandmaster player? I agree. That's why I knew going into this that there was going to be things I could nitpick at, but that I wanted it to be about I wanted to find something that kind of defined this game. And the two things that I take away from it are the lack of 2v2 knowledge and the inability to be okay with losing and learning. Maybe not the inability, but like not actively trying to learn from losing. Jesus Christ. I feel like I got dry mouth, dude. I need to fucking drink some water. I got cotton mouth. Lossing, dude. Alright. We have any other questions about anything I said? That felt really good, man. That felt super fucking strong. I really enjoyed that. Alright. I'm pretty sure this game's gonna get closed out with them just kind of barreling through an ending. How can I stop autopiloting when I'm tilted? This audiobook. Can you guys see it? Yep. The Laws of Human Nature. Alright. Distilling ancient wisdom and philosophy into essential texts of seeks of power, understanding, and mastery. Understanding people's drives and motivations, even when they are unconscious of them themselves. I've been listening to this audiobook, and it gives you good insight into your true motivation and whether or not if you actually have the desire to do what you think you do. Or the desire to actually achieve what you think you want to achieve in life. Like, deep down, is what you're saying you want to do truly what you want to do? And it allows you to see that in other... and try to analyze it in other people as well. Whether or not if what they're doing is truly in the best interest of like your goals or their goals. And when you think about that in terms of a League game, most people, and I will say most because yes, there are some people that try to intentionally ruin League of Legends games, but most people share the same goal and just fail to execute it sometimes, right? I died to a tower level 1 just last game. Okay. And I was pretty upset with myself because I did think I was going to die to the second tower shot. But it wasn't malicious. It wasn't like I intentionally tried to die to the tower. I thought I could kill Camille, and then when I thought I was going to die to the second tower shot, and I just didn't. But I immediately was able to remove what was going to cause me to tilt from it. You guys see a lot. You'll probably see it if you watch the stream a lot. When I make a bad play, if I don't have my team muted, I immediately mute my team because I know it affects me. Okay? I know that more than my team making bad plays, comments about my bad plays is what tilts me more than anything, because I have this innate just reaction to respond. So I just immediately remove it from the equation. Okay. So the best way to stop, I guess, autopiloting when you're tilted is to figure out what tilts you, right? And to see if it's if you're saying that when person A makes a bad play, right, or person A plays bad, right, and you're gonna be person B in this scenario, right? Person A did this. Like, was it malicious? Are they trying to lose you the game? Think about them as an actual person and like what they're doing. Right? Failing tilts me. You failing or someone else doing something that makes you fail, right? Because if you can't fail and learn, then that's something you just have to work at. A good way to do it is when I would actually, I saw a therapist for a little bit. You guys are gonna make me open up about some shit. And I told them that I have a problem where I get not being able to dodge that hook, missing the R typing. What was I saying? So I saw a therapist for a while, and I remember I used to say that I get angry very easily when I feel like I'm not in control of situations, right? When I feel like I have the most to offer to a situation, but I'm not the one in the most control. They always used to tell me, well, after something happens, right, just take notes on it and see whether or not if you are maybe misjudging or misanalyzing the situation. So what I would do is, like, after every league game, when it's the most fresh, no matter if it's a win, a loss, someone leaves, no matter what, I would just take notes on my reactions to certain things, right? How I felt in certain scenarios, whether or not if I played well, but I would never comment on if my teammates played well or not, because it did not matter in terms of my reaction. What other people do should not influence how you react to it, right? If you get mad that you get hit by a hook, you can't let that spill out to your team. There was this YouTuber I used to watch. He used to talk about him playing on a CSGO team and how he always used to play with a player who, after dying, would just into his mic, like you could hear him hit his desk or whatever. And you saw that, I don't know if you watched Twitch Rivals, maybe the first one with League, where Mo is like shit talking his team, right? And his mic's not muted. Right? It's like, you can allow these things to affect you, but you shouldn't allow them to affect others as well. And that effect that it has on you has to be something that you can learn to adapt to, and maybe what's the word? Like harness this, you know, anger or, you know, emotion we'll just call it, just general emotion, into maybe something more positive, like learning or analyzing situations. But you shouldn't do it like right in the middle of a game. Like, it's okay for something to happen negatively. Have it motivate you to dodge the next one and outplay them next time rather than being to the. So I was just about to kind of get into this. I was gonna say, like, it's okay for you to get mad. You're like, fuck, I didn't mean to get hit by that hook. But you have to, if you're gonna think about it, you have to think about it in a way that's not detrimental to you and your play. Like, all right, what happened? I misstepped here. I walked right when he threw this hook. Maybe I should be dodging back. Maybe I shouldn't be walking up when this happens. If I'm going to walk up, I should need to ward this area. If I don't have vision of this person, I should ward here. But you can't be thinking of it in terms of like, man, fuck, I got hit by this hook. This team is so bad. Right? Like, following up a bad thing happening to you with just like a direct correlation to like your team is the wrong way to think about these situations, and it affects your ability to handle it throughout the game the rest of the time it's happening, right? Like, to get hit by a hook and then be like, dude, my fucking jungler sucks or something like that, it like links the two as if they're connected when they're not. I feel like I'm not good enough to dodge. Then practice like in a what are they called? Aren't there like what's that game that like throws things at you and you have to dodge them? Oh fuck, I can't remember it. I just want the game to load, man. Oh, here we go. Oh, is this it? I don't know if you know what Cube Field is. I used to play this game a lot when I was but it's like a quick reactionary dodging game. It's a good way to like warm up your hand-eye coordination. Obviously, you're not using your mouse, but it keeps your eyes moving on things that are, you know, different colors and, you know, moving directly at you. Oh, see, like that I had to be really close. All right. Just practice, literally look up different dodging games. I'm pretty sure there's somebody that must have made one with leaks, like different skill shots. I remember seeing it on the subreddit once. But literally, you can just go in and just play and just look for things that can help you improve on the things that you struggle with. Like, if you're saying that like tilting affects your ability to dodge, right? Then that's where the ability to think about things more positively will help. But that's something that I can't give you a solution for. You might have to look into different aspects of. I don't want to have to say you need therapy. That's ridiculous to just throw that on somebody. But I know a therapist helped me personally with my ability to deal with my anger in correlation with having control over a situation. Right? But you can look into different solutions into what can allow you, right? And like the audio book I'm listening to now allows me to think about the intent of people and the goals that I've set for myself and what I want to achieve in life and whether or not, right, they line up in a league game and et cetera, et cetera. But if you're saying I'm not good enough to dodge in terms of mechanics, practice it. If you're not good enough in terms of, right, your ability to handle the pressure of a game wearing on you throughout, you know, hours of playing, and then you fail because you're just stressed or angry, and that's something you have to learn to cope with internally and maybe see some sort of professional help that I can't offer. I can only offer my personal experiences and my opinions on the situation. Yo, boys, are we coaching or are we giving out fucking... Or are we with the boys right now? God. This feels like a fucking... Just some boys having a conversation about some shit, you know? I think we know what's probably going to happen with the rest of this game. It's just going to be them... catching people. Like I said, like your positioning right now as Xayah is not equally... It's not going to represent exactly your skill level because your team's already so far behind. But they're going to kill you guys. They're going to go get Baron. That's probably good dodge on the result. Yeah, it's just a fight from behind. Probably could have altered the thresh hook, but you know, it's nothing to harp on. I feel like we've had a really healthy and productive conversation. That I think can definitely help you in terms of your mentality in League. And if not, I'm always here. You know, you can always ask me a question. You can PM me on Twitter. All these different things if you're ever curious about my way about thinking about certain situations, not only in terms of, you know, specific League-oriented things, but just, you know, mentality and life, etc. I think we can take a lot away from this session, though. So this is what I'll say to cap it off in terms of more mechanical-based things as well. I'm gonna put a couple links in chat. So XFSN Saber, he's a North American AD player. He does some coaching, full game commentary. Really fucking smart guy. The way he talks, the way he explains himself, I think is extremely helpful. I recommend checking out his channel. CoreJJ is uploading how to support content this video is the first one. Although how to support does not directly relate to how to AD, he does talk about different things like positioning, engaging, reading people, etc. Here's the notepad if you want to screenshot it about the things we talked about. Better enemy jungler tracking, low HP recalls require much more attention to the map and to yourself. It's okay to let towers drop. It's okay to play passive in 2v2s when uncertain of 2v2 potential with support. Don't tilt push, autopiloting. Don't have the mindset of a loss is a waste of my time. And I would definitely say to rewatch the mentality talk that we had, this 30-40 minutes, because I think that me trying to sum it up would not do it justice. I definitely hope that was helpful. It may not exactly be what you were looking for or hoping for. I don't know exactly what you were looking for. We just kind of fucking wing it on this channel with the coaching sessions. Depending on someone's rank, it might be more in depth, depending on what their play style, the champ they're playing, whether or not they have a solid champ pool, right? You seem to have a solid rank, solid champ pool, solid understanding of the game. Just a little flaws in your mentality, your way of thinking, right? But these are all things that you can improve on, and slight minor errors in your, reaction to certain abilities, whether that be because you haven't learned or trained enough, or because you think that your mentality affects it. But it helped clear my mind about problems I have with consistency. I'm aiming for Challenger Season 10. I believe in you, brother. I'll be here. Demoting to D3.